Happy podcast day.
Yep. Happy podcast day.
Podcast day. Ben, all the way from Europe.
Yeah, Ben's in
texted us. Happy podcast day.
Ben's in Europe. Aaron is currently on a motorcycle on his way to Tahoe.
Oh, pray for him.
And Mark is nursing a back injury. So, you know, but hey, we got 3 out of 6, which is not bad. And yeah, we took a little break, right? We had to get all our stuff wrapped up here over the last 30 days, but life's good. People are still buying and selling. Jeet's still golfing.
That's right.
And
2 birdies
yesterday. Tweet. And but let's get into it because this is a really interesting time of year. I've always said that October is a horrible month to list properties. So we are getting into October here in a couple of days. So it'll be interesting to see if that holds true. You know, typically I've always said October and June for a seller. There's just a weird little lull there, and then things pick back up. But jumping into our market report, we've got 959 single-family homes available on the market right now, and 715 condos and townhomes. So we are starting to see things trickle down a little bit. Obviously, that'll continue between now and the end of the year. But, you know, if I'm a buyer, you know, I think things are moving in the right direction. I think sellers, for the most part, are starting to reset some expectations. You know, they're seeing longer days on market, 2 weekends of open houses before offers, things like that. And for buyers, I mean, rates are holding steady, right? There was the Fed dropped a quarter point, which if you go back to any of our previous podcasts, we all said, hey, it's not going to change mortgage interest rates. You know, they'll stay flat. If anything, they may go up a little bit. And that's exactly what happened. So rates are about the same. They're projecting 2 more rate cuts between now and the end of the year, which I don't think is going to have a huge impact on mortgage rates, but it's good for car loans, credit cards, all that other stuff, right? That home equity lines of credit, all that stuff is impacted immediately by the Fed's lowering of interest rates. So what are you guys seeing?
It was interesting to see that when the market was expecting the rate cuts to happen, the rates had already trickled down, and then when the rate cut got announced, it went up a little bit. And so there were a lot of my clients that were like on the sidelines wanting to refi, and they saw that slight dip on, I think, 3rd of September this month, and they just locked it in because it was probably the lowest that it's been. Since then, it's trickled back up a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, it's like we talked about. So everybody had already baked in that interest rate cut into, their mortgage rates and things like that.
Absolutely.
So good.
But I'm seeing buyer confidence come back in the market. I've heard from buyers that paused from earlier this year. They reached back out to me. They were like, hey, stock market's doing well. We heard rate cuts are on the horizon.
Inevitable, yeah.
So they're like, let's get back out there. So I'm seeing more and more buyers wanting to make their way back into the market. Yeah,
I'm really excited for 2026. I think it's going to be a really good year. I think that there's going to be a lot of buyers in the market. Rates will come down. You know, we'll probably hit an average of about 6%, you know, maybe a hair less. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of activity in 2026. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah. And I think it's a good mix of kind of what you said, David, where sellers like are aware of the news, they're kind of resetting expectations as far as price goes, and then having the buyer confidence back. Aaron and I just sold one in West San Jose where, you know, we've been dealing with the seller for a while. She kind of knew that like, hey, things are kind of, you know, weird. But so like, not that we set her like low expectations, but we gave her very conservative numbers from the beginning. Like, hey, you know, like, let's just go where we're very confident. If we get more, great. So timing, we went on last week. We had, you know, 60 groups through the open house, 5 or 6 offers. And then it went like 150 more than her expectations.
Yeah,
so super. That's awesome. So she's happy, buyer's happy. And
so what were you listed at, and what did it like end up at?
Yeah, so a 4.2, 1,600 square feet in West San Jose, 95129. Not Cupertino, but Prospect, but still good schools. We listed at 1,898, and it went a little north of 2.2.
Yeah, wow. Nice. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's similar to Bonita, right? And it's a testament to when sellers let us do our job, stay out of our way. Right, I had a 1,600 square foot house in Santa Clara. Owner had, you know, unfortunately passed away in the property, which, you know, the reality of that is it does affect value. You know, she trusted our pricing strategy. I said, hey, let's go for, you know, 1,699. You know, it's probably worth about $2 million. But if we get enough people in there, we'll drive up the price. Sure enough, 9 offers, and it sold for $2.27 million. So I mean,
God bless.
Right? I mean, so you know, $500,000 over asking price. And she was super excited.
And
Now-
even the open houses there were crazy.
Packed.
Within 2 hours, we had like 40 to 50 groups.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, this is this house needs a lot of work,
Yeah.
but just Santa Clara is on fire.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, and this is why who you work with matters. We made sure that we took a offer that was non-contingent because sure enough, it sold for 2.27 and it appraised for 1.9.
Oh,
$370,000 difference in appraised value versus purchase price. And unfortunately, because the buyer wrote a non-contingent offer, they have to close, right, or risk losing their deposit. And so, luckily for the buyer, they were putting over $1 million down.
Okay.
So it doesn't affect the financing too much, but yeah. So you have to look at all of those things, which is yet another reason why I don't think AI will ever replace us, right? I think it will enhance what we do and streamline a lot of the tasks we don't like doing, but to be able to sit at a table across from a seller and explain to them, well, hey, maybe this lower offer is actually better because the higher offer has an appraisal contingency in it. Those types of things. Sure, AI could give you the different options, but you got to know the market. You got to know the local lenders, the agents on the other end of the transactions, buyer's commitment level, that sort of thing. And so, I think we are still here to stay for at least another 5 years. Yeah. That's as far as my real estate agent crystal ball goes.
until Grok becomes an actual human.
Yeah, or Gemini or ChatGPT, right? It's scary stuff. But so I know we've got some pretty good top 5 lists. I'll let Jason do those in just a second. But I had an interesting topic that I wanted to wait till today to talk about because Jason, as we know, SJPD for 12 years. So been a lot of places, seen a lot of things. I read an interesting article that there were police officers and sheriffs in some instances that have actually sued the owner of a home, specifically landlords. So these are, properties with tenants in them, because the police officer was, injured at the residence. Maybe it was apprehending a suspect or something, that lived at the residence, or was, injured at the home. They are suing the landlords because they said the landlord did not do a good enough job on the background check of the tenant. Maybe, he had violent felonies or whatever. He or she had violent felonies. Officer got injured while conducting, search or pursuit or whatever, and they are actually suing and winning.
No kidding.
Against the landlord. But then here's the interest. So one, I want to get your take on that, and then here's the interesting thing. But then especially here in California, if a landlord, and I'll just use the word discriminates on a potential tenant because of their criminal past, they can also get sued. So you're either way.
Wow.
Right? But yeah, so police officers are suing and winning because they said the landlord didn't do their due diligence on the tenant that they chose.
That's incredible.
That is super interesting. So, and I had no prep for this, so I
just kind of I sprung it on Jay.
Yeah, this is all off the cuff. After 12 years, I've actually never heard of that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know anyone that's ever done that or anything like that. The only thing close that we used to do, not we, but so I actually did a stint at Santa Clara PD right before I went to San Jose. And another reason why Santa Clara is a great city, their police department, they had a unit there. It was called the Nuisance Suppression Unit, NSU. So cool little acronym. And no other city really kind of had anything like this that we'd heard of. So similar scenario minus the fight or whatever. You have a problem house in a neighborhood, so like an eyesore, like a drug house or a flop house or something like that. A lot of times, we'd go out there for tons of calls for service for drug stuff, whatever, violence, whatever. And we're just dealing with the same tenants over and over and over again. This unit would go in and take not that it's not cool to there's laws for everything, and they're more for tools to be used later. So your garbage cans aren't 3 feet from the curb,
right?
And all those little kind of chintzy things. So these guys would go in and talk to the landlord. Hey, we have a problem. We need you to fix this, however you see fit or whatever. And if it kept going, they would go out and cite them for the lawn is too long,
all the little stuff,
little stuff. And with almost probably 100% completion rate, like we would, drive down the street. Oh, we all know this house, whatever. Within a year or two, house is sold. Some guy comes in, remodels the whole thing. Guys are out, and it's like a beautiful house.
Huh.
So that's the only thing that, as far as like what they would do, basically that unit would go after the landlords, like, because I don't know how you would kind of go after the tenant, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, they go after the one with the deep pockets, right?
Yeah.
The tenants don't have money.
But they would ding them for
every little thing.
Your mailbox is crooked and whatever. So a few $1,000 of fines every month.
Yeah, it adds up quick.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think if I remember the article correctly, it was just here in California, which makes total sense. Because obviously California, you can sue anybody for any reason, whether you're right or wrong. But it also goes to show, like, we talk a lot about this. Real estate in our area, California in general, great place to own, to live in, just continues to be a challenge as a landlord, right, for an investment, perspective. And so that's why I'm pleased that our team can offer investment opportunities outside of the state of California as well as inside. Because, we have a lot of our property management owners that are just tired of being landlords.
Yeah.
They're tired of all the nuisance, right? Tired of, tenants not paying or paying late or coming up with excuses. And so we're able to, sell these assets here in the Valley for lots of money and get them into something much better out of state and a better cash flow. So, so landlords, another reason why you should have an umbrella policy.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, Jason and I talked about that today. If you are an investor, a business owner, and don't have an umbrella policy, it's $500 or so a year to cover you up to $2 million.
What does it cover exactly?
Well, it depends on the policy, but in general, say you're in your vehicle and you get into an accident and you hit somebody, they get injured, and their injury amount exceeds your insurance policy coverage, typically they would sue you directly, right? So if your policy coverage says, hey, we cover up to $30,000, but the hospital bills and pain and suffering is $100,000. Right, so they'll say, well, we're going to sue Jeep for the difference. If you have an umbrella policy, and my umbrella policy is up to $2 million, they will cover the difference. If you have a swimming pool and somebody slips and gets hurt, or God forbid drowns, and they try to sue you, right, you have that umbrella policy to cover you up to $2 million. So it's just that benefit. So business owners, homeowners, landlords, especially, look into getting an umbrella policy. And if you need referrals for that, just let us know.
Yeah. It seems like such a tough, it seems like such a tough, angle. Like, you're there for, you own a house, you have a tenant, he's an adult and an American, or he or she's an adult and American. Yeah. You're providing housing. They're
paying on time.
They're paying on time.
Yeah.
And they make some, free will choice, and the cops show up and this happens. And I don't know, that doesn't seem...
Well, specifically the article said that they didn't do a good enough job screening the tenants. Okay. Right? It's not like it's a random person with no record, right? And then gets into an altercation with an officer, or, the officer trips over, 10 lawnmowers in the front yard that aren't supposed to be there. But this was specifically saying, like, the landlord should have known that this person had a high potential, for violence or crime, and therefore should not have rented to them. And I think, man, what a pickle for the landlord.
Dude, that's tough.
Right?
That is.
Especially in California.
Yeah. But why would you also want a felon to be living at your property?
Because you want to believe the best in people. And maybe he's rehabilitated. Say out of every, 10 convicted felons, 7 or 8 of them have reformed their lives and just looking for a break, right? Looking for someone to rent to them. So you do that out of the goodness of your heart or belief in humankind. But it's that one bad apple, right?
Ruins it for everyone.
Yep. Yeah. So
wild,
interesting stuff. I appreciate your take on that. So I'll let you talk about. You got a couple of lists to cover.
Yeah. So multiple top 5 lists today.
All right.
This one's a little interesting. David, we're gonna have to lean on your expertise.
That's a nice way of saying I'm old. and been doing this
expertise.
Forever. Yeah, expertise means old.
Wisdom.
Yeah. So I have 2 top 5 lists. They're specific to buyers in their top 5 things that they were looking for when purchasing a home. Okay. So 1 being the most important, what they were looking for, 5 being the least. It's from 2 different decades, or a decade gap. Yeah. So 2015. So let's go back to 2015. So 10 years ago. Top 5 home quality. So when people were looking for a house, what were the top 5 things they were looking for?
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we'll compare it to today and see if it's
So
accurate.
10 years ago, Jeet was 16, living in Dubai. Probably didn't even have a driver's license yet.
Just graduated high school.
Yeah, Jesus. But so if I look back 10 years ago and we're 2015, what do people want? Well, I'm thinking through like process of elimination. I think things that probably weren't on the top 5 10 years ago would be like home office, probably not on there. I think something that would be on there, obviously schools matter.
So schools is not on the top 5.
Okay.
Back then.
All right, back then. Okay, so then, back then, swimming pool?
So the first one they put, so tell me if this is accurate,
Yeah.
square footage. The goal was a big house.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think
So
that's-
square footage over everything. Number 2 was parking, so minimum 3-car garage.
Okay.
Excuse me. Third one, I think this one's spot on. It was formal dining and formal living room, separate.
Yeah.
Number 4 was potential for an addition.
Okay. So adding square footage?
Yeah. And then the least important was commute to work. So they said. And then it was funny, they put a quote for each one. So if you were to quote a buyer in 2015, it says, give me the house with the most square footage and a formal dining room.
All right. Yeah, back then the McMansions were very popular, right? Homes were getting torn down and they're building these, 5,000 square foot monstrosities. And luckily that's kind of faded a little bit. But yeah, and then in today, I mean, what do you think the top 5 things buyers want today?
Numero uno.
Open floor plan.
Ooh,
Open floor
close.
plan,
Yes, that
commute,
is
schools.
So number 3, open floor plan.
Yeah.
All right.
Specifically kitchen. Number 1, top school district.
Yeah.
And it said buyers today will stretch their budget just to make sure in the top school district.
Or take a lesser house.
Yeah.
Right.
I said 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And now you don't need formal dining as much, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, the few buyers that I've worked with lately, they don't care about a family room and a living room.
Yeah.
Right. Because no one ever uses one of them.
Right. Like a great room is what's in right now.
Yeah.
Like people like that.
Yeah, you're eating at the island or
The kitchen's
on the
heart of
couch.
the home, right? So yeah, and then also I think what I've seen go away from 10 years ago, not on the list though, is bathtubs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody used to want it was always a bathtub and then the shower over the tub. But nowadays, if you look when we remodel the houses or there's new constructions, if you have 3 bathrooms, one may have a tub.
One of them.
Right? To
For the
bathe
baby- for the baby.
For the baby. But the others are walk-in showers. And so that's
100%.
something I've seen go away. Obviously, home office is become very important, at least in our market. Lot size has become important too because the thought, not that a lot of people do it, but the thought of being able to put an ADU at some point down the road.
Yeah. Also like a large entertainment, like an outdoor entertainment area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like people like that more now, like having that yard space
Yeah.
compared to earlier.
So that was number 4. It was large backyard and then coupled with low maintenance.
Yeah.
Low maintenance yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
So
makes-
school's number 1, commute to work's number 2, the open floor plan, the yard, and then the last one is turnkey, something you can just move into.
Yeah.
You don't want to fix stuff.
So you think in 2015 people were going for larger, maybe funkier floor plan homes rather than something smaller but with a better floor plan?
Well, I think they just wanted space.
Okay.
Right. So, what happened was people wanted space because they were home more. Right. And now, especially in our market, a lot of people are like, hey, just give me something that's low maintenance and not very big because I spend 60 hours a week at work plus another 20 hours for a commute.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but then but then it switched again during COVID,
Yeah.
right? Then COVID's like, get me out of the Bay Area. Give me something with land,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be breathing on my neighbor.
Let me go to Modesto.
Yeah, or a Madera or Hollister.
Yeah.
But now even that's swinging back, right? Because you've got the return to office stuff, the RTO stuff, and so now people are like, hey,
Crazy how those markets are doing though. They're really down from a few years ago. Like
Well-
there was this property in Tracy that used to sell for 800, 850, and I'm seeing that listed at 650, and it's been on the market for 45 days.
well, and you understand why, right? So San Jose is the epicenter. And then everything feeds out from there.
Yeah.
So the further you get away from San Jose, and like Hollister, as fast as it goes up, it'll come down. Tracy, Mountain House, all of those places that people flee to or investors bought, then Stockton. I mean, all those, get hit first. And then it comes
Lathrop.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, that's why, end of the day, it's location,
Yeah.
location.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just thought it was interesting. Like for sure today's like with the schools is like number one. Like
education.
Yeah. You have a listing or someone selling a house in like the top school district. It's doesn't matter what the house looks like. And then obviously back, 10 years ago, that formal dining and formal living room, the room your grandma had at her house that you couldn't go in.
Yeah.
You could barely
plastic on the couches.
God, you could barely look at it as you walked by.
Yeah. No.
You think the rate of appreciation for a home in a good school district is significantly more than a home without a good school district in a similar area?
Absolutely. I'll give a perfect example. My first house off of Alum Rock on the east side of San Jose is 1,250 square feet. Okay. That house right now is probably worth, it's 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's probably worth 900 to 950, 8,500 square foot lot.
Okay.
What is a 1,250 square foot house in Los Gatos go for?
Well, that's
Cupertino.
You're 2,000 a foot, versus 850 a foot.
Absolutely. But what I'm talking about is like the same area. So I know like East Side versus Los Gatos West Side, kind of different compared to how it feels. But let's say same feeling neighborhood. Good school district, bad school district. Over 10 years, you think the good school district appreciates at a much higher percentage. Like for example, Berryessa. Berryessa has 2 school districts. One's the Independence High and the other one's Piedmont, right? And Independence has been about 6 or 7 out of 10. Piedmont's been 8, 9, or sometimes even a 10, right? Depending on the year. You think those two would have significantly different appreciation curves, although they're pretty much right next to each other?
Well, I wouldn't say significant, right? But it definitely, you're at least a 15% increase. If you have 2 identical houses, one feeds to Independence, one feeds to Piedmont, you're going to get 10% difference at least.
Over 10 years.
Well, here.
Well, if you put the same house on the market, so then over 10 years, if the same identical house is one that feeds to Independence sells for 1.5, the one that feeds into Piedmont is going to be 1.75 or more. So then you take that appreciation over time, and absolutely.
Well, the house that we sold in West San Jose for 2.2, that one, both same zip code 95129. The border for Cupertino schools is like one street over. So ours was Prospect, and the middle schools and stuff go over one street. It's Limbrook, and those comps are like 2.5, 2.6.
Yeah. Right. No, that's,
and because we were one street over, we were
because and going back to your top 5, because schools
number one schools per the list.
Barris is a great community, but if I have to live there, I'm gonna at least make sure I go to Piedmont.
Yeah.
Right. Because I personally used to live right next door to Independence High School on Jackson and McKee, and just as because of a side note, do you know the population or the average student head count in Independence High School? It's insane. It's
big, right?
It's like a college.
Yeah.
Where the average high school maybe has, 2,500 students or whatever. Independence, back then when I was there, had like 5,000 to 6,000.
No, I think it's still massive.
Yeah. The thing's huge, man.
Okay. Yeah. So, since our last podcast, we were at Mountain Laurel. It was just about to go on the market. What's going on with it now, Jason?
We're good. We're closing next week. All is well. It was kind of a cool little story. We met them. We have like obviously some listing prep and stuff like that. 2 things we utilized on that one that I think kind of helped us out because it actually sold. We got an offer the first week. So within 3 days of going on the market, we got an offer.
Wow. So when did you meet them? When did it go on the market? And it sold in 3 days.
Yeah. So Ben and I met them probably, what are we in? September. So we probably met them in like July or something like that. So it was a couple months of like timing. But those 2 months kind of leading up to it, we utilized our off-market MLS, so members only. So it was on there. People knew about it. We obviously, have our own buyers that were kind of looking. So it was kind of had a lot of like pre-marketing.
Pre-marketing, yeah.
Something else we did, because it's on a almost 2.5 acre lot, is an outdoor virtual tour.
Ah, that's cool.
So most of the tours, right, when you go through
indoors.
it's just indoors, but we did one of the whole yard.
Did you do different scenes with like you and Ben grilling in the pool,
in the hot tub?
that would have been awesome, man. Gotta get more creative.
So all the way from the driveway till where the backyard fence is.
To the fence. So you could go the whole perimeter of the house turn, look like you're like as if you're standing in the backyard and looking at the pool and
That's dope.
hot tub and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think that helped?
Well,
getting the buyer?
the data I have is so the buyer that comes in actually had met him at another listing we had at Alta Tierra. So recognized each other like, oh my gosh, like, you know, good to see you. That was like 9 months ago. So he's been looking for a while. The first thing he said was, thank you so much for the outdoor virtual tour.
That's dope.
Yeah, that was the first thing he said was, and he's like, I've looked at it every day. We walk the yard and like, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Noted. Like that was, that was
on those larger estate type properties. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the times it's we see properties for 15 minutes to maybe an hour when it's that large, but it's really cool to go back in and kind of see the nooks and crannies around the property and see what's out there. Where's the AC unit outside, or where the chimney is located outside. It's pretty cool to get that insight. I think we should start doing that for regular properties too, like with like decent lot sizes, and indoor and outdoor. Virtual tours.
I think it's a great idea. The last thing that I wanted to talk about today, a lot of our, because I know Jason's got to run too, a lot of our clients have kids. All our kids are on TikTok. They're either making them, watching them, or both. And I was like, my TikTok presence sucks. So I'm gonna put out a challenge to all of our listeners, viewers with kids, and if they are good at making content, I'm gonna put this challenge together.
Oh, I'm liking this.
It is unlimited. I don't care if 5 people do it, come to me 4, 10, whatever. If you help me make a TikTok video that gets 10,000 views, I will give your kid $1,000.
Woo!
Wait, can I do it?
No.
Do you have a kid?
Yeah, you have a kid.
I am the kid.
Yeah, so any of our listeners out
9
there,
months.
whether you're a client of mine, Jason's, Jeets, Mark's, anybody, you got a kid that gets me 10,000 views, and if it's 1 kid, 2 kids, 5 kids, whatever, I'll pay $1,000 once I hit 10,000 views.
Perfect.
Jacob, you hear that?
Yeah, I guess I have to clip it.
David, are you ready to do the dance?
It's got to be real estate centric.
Sure,
They can go out there, see what's trending in real estate. I will act a fool if that's what it takes. I do that anyway. So that's it. 10,000 views and $1,000. That's easy.
It's on.
Wow, that's a great challenge.
And actually, because I'm a boomer, by views I mean likes. So 10,000 likes.
Boomer.
10,000.
See, all right. So
that becomes a lot harder.
So let me
Is that
say
harder?
That's like 10 million views.
Yeah.
All right, so let me say that again. Actually, you know what? No, I'll keep it. 10,000 views, $1,000. I mean,
Dude, 10,000 views is a lot.
I can do that in a day.
Jeet, adopt him real quick.
But you must be under 20 because we want to support the students, college students, high school students, and so you give me 10,000 likes. I'll give you $1,500.
There you go.
So that's it. I'm serious. So you guys, reach out to us, whatever, and love to see what type of content you create for me.
I love that.
And who knows? Maybe we'll offer you an internship that could evolve into a marketing position in our company.
Maybe.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
We love our interns.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
All right, guys. That's all I got.
Cool.
Jason, you got a listing appointment?
Yeah, got some.
You got buyers to show property to?
I actually wanted to touch on.
Oh, we don't have time for that.
No,
Wait, you're 2
Next
birdies again?
no, the H-1B petition, $100,000
Let's save it.
for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
All right.
save it because we got some other good stuff around immigration and policy that we'll talk about next week.
Cool.
That's called a cliffhanger.
All right.
Stay
On
tuned.
the
All
next episode of Unlocking Silicon Valley.
Doom doom. All right, guys. See ya.
All right.
See ya.
See you.